Before I share this story with you, I want to ask something important. Please subscribe, like, and share this video so we can keep bringing you powerful real-life stories that touch the heart and open the eyes. Your support means everything. Now let me take you into a chapter of my life that still sends chills down my spine. Imagine building 8 years of love, trust, and dreams with the one person you thought would never betray you. Imagine waking up one day and realizing the late nights, the excuses, the glowing smiles weren't for you at all. This isn't just another story. It's about how I, Daniel, uncovered the kind of truth no husband should ever face. The kind that shatters not just your marriage, but your very belief in love itself. When I first met Emily, I felt like I had stumbled into a dream. She wasn't just a woman who caught my attention. She was the kind of person who could walk into a room and change its entire energy. Her laughter carried like music. Her kindness felt effortless, and somehow with her, even silence had a comfort to it. We met at a small cafe on a rainy afternoon. I still remember the raindrops racing down the window while we spoke for hours, as if the world outside had paused just to let us begin. From that day on, everything seemed brighter. In time, our lives began to intertwine. We built a little home together, the kind of home that felt alive, not because of the walls or the furniture, but because of the warmth we poured into it. Candlelit dinners, lazy Sunday mornings, silly inside jokes that only the two of us could understand. Even when life got tough, we had each other, and that felt unshakable. For 8 years, Emily was more than my wife. She was my anchor, my best friend, the person I trusted more than anyone else in the world. I used to look at her across the room and think, this is it. This is what forever looks like. But what I didn't know then was that even the most beautiful forever can sometimes hide shadows too dark to see until it's too late. It didn't happen all at once. There wasn't a single day I could point to and say, that's when everything changed. No. It came slowly, like a quiet storm rolling in from the distance. At first, it was small things. Emily began working late. She'd send quick texts saying she was caught up at the office, followed by a smiley face as if that little emoji could wash away my unease. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. After all, she had always been the woman I trusted most, but the late nights multiplied. One turned into 2, then 3, until it became a pattern. When I asked about it, she'd laugh, brushing a hand through her hair. Don't be paranoid, Daniel. You know how deadlines are. The words sounded casual, but something in her voice felt rehearsed. Then came the change in her appearance. Emily had always taken care of herself, but suddenly every day seemed like a special occasion. Perfume I hadn't smelled in years. Dresses that once stayed in the back of the closet now appeared regularly. Lipsticks I thought she had forgotten became her daily choice. I wanted to take it as a compliment. Maybe she was just evolving. Maybe she wanted to feel more confident. But deep down, a quiet unease started eating at me. One night she didn't come home until nearly sunrise. I sat in the living room, staring at the clock as the minutes bled into hours. Her phone had apparently died. When she finally walked through the door, she was glowing in a way I hadn't seen in years. She kissed me on the cheek, humming a tune, and placed her bag down like nothing unusual had happened, but I saw it. That glow, that radiance, it wasn't for me. I swallowed my doubts, forced myself to smile and stayed quiet. I didn't want to be the insecure husband who mistook shadows for monsters. I wanted to believe in her, in us. But something inside me whispered that the woman I had once called my anchor was slowly drifting away. And no matter how much I tried to silence it, the voice inside me was only getting louder. The hardest battles are often the ones fought in silence. For weeks, I carried my doubts like a secret weight pressing down on my chest. During the day, I forced myself to smile, to act like nothing was wrong. But at night, when the world was quiet and Emily's back was turned to me in bed, the storm inside me grew louder. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of her steady breathing, wondering if it was truly peaceful, or if it was hiding something. My heart wanted to trust her, My mind whispered betrayal. Every small action started to feel suspicious. She turned her phone face down on the table. She stepped outside to take calls, claiming it was work. She typed furiously with a smile she didn't bother to explain. When I asked what she was laughing at, she'd shrug, saying, "Oh, it's just something silly." But that laughter wasn't shared with me anymore. I started noticing the perfume again, lingering on her skin late at night. I noticed the effort she put into her hair, her clothes, even when she said she was too tired for us to go out together. The Emily I once knew, the woman who shared every detail of her day, who laughed at my worst jokes, who curled up next to me on the couch, now felt distant, present in body but not in spirit. I told myself I was imagining things, that marriage had phases, that stress could change a person. I clung to every excuse I could find because the truth felt too unbearable to accept. But deep inside, I knew something was slipping away, and yet even as my chest tightened with suspicion, even as my stomach knotted at the thought of losing her, I hesitated. I wasn't ready to confront her, not yet, because confronting her meant opening the door to an answer I wasn't sure I could handle. So I waited, watched, listened, and each day the silence between us grew heavier until it wasn't just silence anymore. It was a warning that the love I thought was unbreakable might already be broken. There comes a point when doubt is no longer enough, when the silence, the excuses, the unease becomes unbearable. I had reached that point. One evening, Emily was in the shower humming to herself. The sound of the running water gave me a cover. My hands shook as I sat at my desk, my laptop glowing in the dim light of the room. I wasn't proud of what I was about to do. I kept telling myself marriage should be built on trust. But trust had already been fractured, and betrayal doesn't ask for permission. It creeps in quietly and leaves you with no choice but to look for answers. I connected my laptop to her phone, syncing her messages and photos. The screen filled with notifications I had never seen before. My pulse raced. My throat tightened. For a moment, I almost closed the laptop, terrified of what I might find. But then the truth stared back at me. There they were. Dozens of messages. From someone named Mark. I didn't know his face, but his words were enough to burn through me. Last night was unforgettable. I can still feel you. I can't wait to see you again. The words blurred as my vision filled with tears. My chest felt like it was caving in. Every sentence was another crack in the foundation of the life I thought we had built together. I scrolled further. Pictures, smiling selfies, notes she had sent him late at night while I lay just a few feet away, believing she was asleep. It was all there. Proof I couldn't deny. Proof that crushed every excuse I had clung to for weeks. With trembling hands, I began saving everything. Screenshots of messages, copies of photos, even voice notes she had sent him. I organized it all into a neat folder, labeled with a single word, Emily. That folder wasn't just a collection of files. It was the graveyard of my trust, the evidence of betrayal carved into digital permanence. When Emily stepped out of the shower that night, smiling at me like nothing had changed, I forced myself to act normal. I couldn't confront her yet, not until I was ready, because if I was going to face her lies, I needed the truth to speak louder than her words. And now I had it. That evening, Emily came home with the same glow she'd worn so many times before. Her smile was effortless, her voice light, as she poured herself a glass of wine and curled up on the couch like nothing in the world was wrong. I watched her for a long moment, memorizing the way she looked. I wasn't staring at my wife anymore. I was staring at a stranger who had mastered the art of deception. "Emily," I said finally, my voice steady, "can you come into the study? I want to show you something." She looked at me with mild curiosity, sipping her wine, and followed me barefoot down the hallway. The study felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting. I sat at the desk, my laptop open, the folder glowing on the screen, with a name that had once meant everything to me. Emily. I clicked it. One by one, the messages appeared on the screen. The words she had whispered to someone else. The photos, the late-night promises, the confessions of passion that were never meant for me. Her smile froze. The wine glass in her hand trembled, liquid spilling onto the carpet. Her face drained of color. "Daniel," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I didn't answer. I let the silence sit between us, thick and unrelenting. She stepped closer, her voice cracking. "Please, it's not what it looks like. You have to believe me." But the truth scrolled on. Message after message, photo after photo. Her denial collapsed under the weight of evidence. Tears filled her eyes, spilling down her cheeks. She reached for me, desperate, trembling. "Daniel, I made a mistake. Please, let me explain. Please, don't do this. Don't walk away." I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time, I didn't see the woman I had built a life with. I saw a stranger who had taken everything sacred between us and treated it like a disposable thrill. "You came home glowing from someone else's touch," I said quietly, my words cutting sharper than any shout could have. "And tonight, you found the truth waiting for you on my laptop. That's the difference between us. I gave you my soul. You gave me lies." Her sobs filled the room, raw and broken. But I didn't move. I didn't touch her, because love had already left the room long before I pressed that first key. For 8 years, Emily had been my world, my anchor, my safe place. But as she stood there, crying, begging, clinging to excuses, I realized something had shifted inside me. It wasn't anger that I felt. It wasn't rage or even hatred. It was clarity. The love that had once blinded me had burned away, leaving behind a truth I could no longer ignore. This woman wasn't the person I thought she was. The Emily I loved no longer existed, or maybe she never had. She reached for me again, her voice breaking. "Daniel, I swear, it didn't mean anything. It was just a mistake. Please, we can fix this. Don't throw us away." Her words cut deep, but they rang hollow. How could she ask me not to throw something away when she had already set it on fire? I looked around the study, at the laptop screen still glowing with evidence, at the familiar bookshelves and the framed photo of us smiling on our wedding day. All of it felt like relics of a life that no longer belonged to me. "I didn't throw us away, Emily," I said quietly. "You did." Her sobs grew louder, raw with desperation. She dropped to her knees, clutching at my arm, begging me not to leave. Once her touch had been the center of my world. Now it felt like chains I needed to break free from. I gently pulled away, not with fury, not with violence, but with the quiet strength of someone who finally understood his worth. I closed the laptop, stood up and walked past her. The sound of her crying followed me, echoing through the house we had once filled with laughter. In our bedroom, I pulled out a small suitcase. With each shirt I folded, with each pair of shoes I packed, I felt something inside me untangling. The pain was sharp, almost unbearable, but with every movement there was also a sense of release. When I zipped the suitcase shut, the sound felt final. I walked to the door. Emily stood in the hallway, her face pale, streaked with tears. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Maybe she realized nothing she could say would change what had already been done. Without another glance, I stepped outside. The air was cold, the night eerily quiet. But for the first time in months, maybe years, I could finally breathe. The house behind me felt empty, but I felt lighter, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to fight for someone who broke you. It's to walk away. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks the version of yourself that believed in forever. It makes you question every memory, every smile, every late-night whisper you once held sacred. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the most powerful closure isn't found in screaming matches or revenge. It isn't in trying to make someone feel the same pain they gave you. The strongest closure is silence. It's packing your bag, walking out the door, and refusing to look back. Yes, it hurt. It nearly destroyed me. But in that pain I found something I hadn't expected. Freedom. Freedom from lies. Freedom from pretending. Freedom to finally remember my worth. To anyone listening who has ever felt betrayed, please don't forget this. Your love is not second best. If someone can't value it, that is their loss, not yours. And if this story touched you, I ask from the heart, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Not just to support me, but to remind someone else out there that they are stronger than they think. Because sometimes the loudest way to say I deserve better is to simply walk away in quiet strength.